All right, here we go. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of the pre-market pulse scan. Today is Tuesday, June the 13th, 2017, Eastern Standard Time, AM 7:05. All right, let's jump right into it. First things first, looking into the overnight markets. For the most part, we're in a holding pattern. Everything is quiet. Not a lot going on, which is to be expected. Your bonds right now have been holding steady around the 153.25, 153.30 level, and that's where we are right now. Looking at the Dow futures are up 18 points at 21,202. So the Dow is maintaining that 21,000 support, which is good. The NASDAQ 100 is up 11 1/4 at 57.30.5. The E-mini S&P 500 futures is up 3 3/4 points at 24.30 1/4. The Nikkei futures is up 80 at 19,930. Crude oil futures up 10 cents at $46.17.5. And the US dollar's at 97.06. It's struggling to hold on to that 97 handle. And going down to gold, gold is at $1264.90, down $4 even. Silver broke below $17. It's at $16.80, down about 13 cents. And natural gas is at $3.04, and it's up about a penny. So as you can see, these markets overall are very quiet. Not a lot going on right now, and I suspect that the sideways pattern will continue for a while. It's just the nature of where we are right now. Markets have not really chosen a direction so far this week. We're early into the week, but still just consolidating. I mean, overall, stock market's had an incredible run. It's still locked in. All right, there's no technical damage on the charts or anything like that. Right now, you're looking at a chart of advanced micro devices. You basically saw how we filled this gap here, all right? And now the market's just trying to decide what it wants to do. We're in the sideways pattern. For all this price action, technically speaking, we've gone absolutely nowhere. We're right where we are today, basically where we were back here, and technically back here. So there's been little price action since April the 13th of 2017 to today. All right, a lot of up and down, but really no price action. We are at the same price. We are break even basically. Had you bought this stock on April the 13th, 2017, you're basically at break even right now. There's nothing going on. That should tell you something. But the big question mark now is the financial sector. This is ticker XLF. As you can see, something is a brewing. This market has broken out and is trying to gain more upside momentum. Trend lines are rising with price. If we look at a longer term view here, we will see more of the same, but broken down into a better picture for you. So on the daily, it looks like you're gathering steam, but you really haven't broken out yet, and you're bumping up against resistance, but it does appear, and I use the word appear, that 2530 is in play, and that 2530 is going to be taken out. All right. And you do have rampage here, but then it looks like it falls off not long after. And then you consolidate, and then you have a little bit of staircaseness. But I think the financials are going to fall off. I'm going to tell you why. Class, can anyone answer the question, what's wrong with this chart? Can anyone tell me what is wrong with this chart? Ah, you're right. We have a pointer. Pointers act as gaps. At some point, they have to be reckoned with. Pointer. At some point, we will have to deal with this pointer. It's pointing down. It's pointing to around 2155. If taken out, the market is toast. This thing is pointing to an acceleration point below the Kumo cloud, below 18, and pointing to a very bearish scenario compared to where we are today on the weekly chart. This pointer occurred on a weekly chart. That is pretty devastating. If it occurred on a daily chart, then we could say, okay, at some point we're going to have some type of a sharp correction, whatever. But this one is happening up here. So the bull trend will be in jeopardy at some point. Several weeks have transpired, and technically speaking, we've seen lower highs. Kind of a elongated flag kind of building right here. At some point, we're going to break out and or break down. I suspect a breakout first, consolidating around there, coming back down to earth, and then something happens and we get momentum to the downside. The pointer gets prophesied, predicted, and comes to pass, and then we drop below the Kumo cloud. Alarm bells will go off at this point as we drop below $20 a share. With that being the case, let's see if we can find confirmation in some of the other banking financial type securities, starting with Goldman Sachs. This is a weekly chart. Let's see what we can find here. All right, we don't see anything here in Goldman Sachs to suggest that, except for we have a little bit of a pointer here. And this one is already starting to fulfill its prophecy, but not so fast. Got a little bit of rampage coming up here. So I suspect price will get back up to around the 240-ish range before all is said and done, with a false breakout here that corrects. I do believe that the downside is coming. You cannot sustain a bull market rally without financials. Now, can you? Here's JP Morgan. All right, you see huge rampage coming, right? This is interesting because even though you see huge rampage on the horizon, on this one, you don't see any pointers. So what will be the catalyst for this one? Now this is showing you that you're going to get back up over $90, but then you kind of drop off. So this high will probably remain intact, or we could get one head fake spike through it on an intraday basis, but I don't see a close above it. Now, I could be wrong, but just looking at what the price action is suggesting, that is not going to happen. Is Bank of America going to tell us something here? JP Morgan wouldn't tell us too much. No. All right. Not tipping the hat too much. Is Deutsche Bank going to say something? It's been in trouble. It's been settling lawsuits. It's in the Kumo cloud of death on the weekly chart. All right. So price action's been all over. Ran up, ran down, ran up, makes you think it's breaking out, come right back down again. It's flatlining. Is it going to try to break out again? Most likely. And then it'll fall below the Kumo cloud, most likely, yeah. I think we're going to fall below the Kumo cloud up in here, though. Probably get around 18 bucks before falling off again, even though this is an elongated consolidation period. I think this one probably will head lower after the breakout. I don't see it. 20 is my max before it just rolls over. How about Wells Fargo? Is Wells Fargo showing us anything? Is it telling us anything? Well, we got a little bit of rampage coming up here. Got a nice sharp one here to help catapult prices. But I think we're going to top out around 58.20. 58.20 is my max. So you got about roughly $4 coming your way to the top side before this thing gives up the ghost with one last head fake right up in here. And this is around November. So at some point around November, you get a head fake. And then going into the end of the year, prices will start to come off. And this opens up the door for next year for it to fall off a cliff. So we're going to head up here. 60 is going to be resistance for the rest of the year. So just consolidation, little false breakouts, and then we roll off toward the end of the year. So this does not suggest any stock market sell-off. This just suggests that we consolidate and then we start to drop off a little bit by the end of the year. So kind of the year going out with a whimper in the financial sector. And then next year, I think the pointer starts to come into play. All right, enough of that. Let's see where we are here with what's going on with the Bitcoin. Let's check out Bitcoin. And for that, we will switch over if I can. Give me just a second. Still learning how to do all this technology. All right. All right, I'm going to switch things over for a bit. Let's see what we got here. No. Here we go. All right. So, as you see here, this is where I like to get my data for the Ethereum and the Bitcoin. And here is the website up in hither. And as you can see, right now, Ethereum is off 4.8%, make it 4.9% now. All right, here's your 24-hour low right here. Here's your 24-hour high right here. And here's your Bitcoin 24-hour high right here, 24-hour low right here. And as you can see, prices are starting to come off quite a bit. Ethereum broke that 400 mark. Now we're down here into 372 level. You can see Bitcoin has come way off. This is a 7-day price graph of its price action. After hitting 3,000, here we are at 2,600. It's at 1.48% roughly from bouncing off of those lows. But as you can see, this is why I warn and tell people to take profit along the way so that you don't get crushed. It's quite a drop from 3,000 to 2,600. All right, that's practically a $400 move. So you'd be down 400 bucks if you bought it at 3,000. But if you took profit along the way on the ride to 3,000, you would have been out somewhere near the top, waiting for the next opportunity to get long again. And or you'd be selling it, you would have sold it short somewhere around that 3,000, 2,900 level. Had you been following the weekly post-wave price triggers, you would have had this opportunity. Okay, so let's move on. Let's see what else we got here. All right, let's go back to our next monitor here. All right. And let's take a look-see at the chart. All right, let's take a look at where we are in the metals. All right, taking a look at gold, and again, we're looking at from the weekly time frame. You can see here that Kumo cloud of death is a beast. Head fakes you here, broke out here, but now we're correcting. Not a lot of follow through, but these trend lines are really trying to come out. It's going to take another couple of weeks for these trend lines to get totally up out of the cloud so that we can have another test toward 1,300. As you can see, we got to 1298.80, just shy of my $1,300 target, but I'm looking for a close. That's a spike. That doesn't count. I'm looking for that close. Now, ladies and gentlemen, class, what is wrong with this chart? Can anyone show me what is wrong with this chart? You got a double whammy. You got a pointer here, and you got another one forming right here on this spike. At some point, gold is going north of 1350, and north of 1,300 for now. At some point, pun intended, these pointers will need to be dealt with. Pointers act as gaps. That's where we're going, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't mean we can't crash again down to the the mid to lower 1200s again before coming back up. It just means that at some point, especially this one here, these pointers are going to play out. All right. Let's see how silver's doing. What is silver telling us? Well, silver appears to be falling off of a cliff on the weekly chart. Not looking good at all. Lower highs, lower lows. We corrected, but now here we go, a downtrend channel again. This next leg has potential to drop us below $16, and that will get us into the $15 handle. And with this momentum being, all things being equal, this momentum here, ladies and gentlemen, this has potential to go to about, depending on what kind of acceleration we get, ladies and gentlemen, on a spike, we could get into the $13 handle on a spike, depending on the acceleration. Now, I don't think it's going to get that bad. We could probably see the 15 handle though. But if we do see the 15 handle, we close in the 15 handle, then yeah, we're going to see 13. That's the acceleration point. Okay, worst case scenario, $13 handle. Don't ask me why that is, it just is. That's what the price action is suggesting if we get a close in the $15 handle. All right, if we just trade there but don't close there and don't spike there, then we have a good chance of, you know, reversing this and getting back up above this Kumo cloud. So this is an interesting one, to say the least. Since equities are better priced, let's see if SLV can shed a little light for us. All right, SLV does not look as pronounced as the futures. Got a little gap here to deal with, so it doesn't look as bad. But all things being equal, according to this, we could get into the $12 handle in the SLV. These three bad boys right here are your acceleration points. If we get a close back into the $15 handle, that's exactly what's going to happen. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see price acceleration points down there. Now, it'll be good for you stackers, okay? It'll be good for you to get and accumulate some more silver. As long as they don't, you know, try to smoke you with those premiums. But if you can find and locate some, if we do get down there, that'll be like your last chance of a lifetime to accumulate cheap silver, all right? Because of the pointers. And you gotta, man, this SLV has what I would like to call the pointer sisters. The pointer sisters are taking over the SLV silver market. You got so many pointers up and around here, all right, to send this well north of $20 on the SLV. Your first pointer sister was here, and she has a twin here. She has another one here. She has another one here, a little teeny one here. You got the point. Silver is the pointer sisters. And the pointer sisters are telling you at some point, pun intended, we got to head back up to this $19, $20 level and then beyond. Doesn't mean you can't drop lower first, but I'm just saying the pointer sisters have a lot of hits. They've made a lot of hits. You can't ignore the pointer sisters. All right? So, I'm just saying. All right. Now, if you look at nat gas, let's move on to the nat gas. Nat gas right now is showing a couple of things. We got a couple of things we got to deal with in the nat gas. Nat gas is confused. It doesn't know what to do. All right? It's a blind ninja swinging his sword in the dark. All right? We got a pointer here to the downside. We got a sword, all right? A samurai sword pointing north here. We got another sword pointing south here. It is confused. It does not know what it wants to do. This first pointer here has been verified. The prophecy has said that winter is coming. We ran up, came down, and broke beyond this with this. So winter came. Now this one is saying more winter is coming, and then we break out, and then it kind of... So it looks like we're going to go down before we go back up. But this one, I think, is the major one of all. This sword right here. Don't ask me why. I don't know. But it just is. Just take my word for it. All right. December the 26th, 2016 was a big deal for whatever reason. This is the key pointer right here. For no other reason, but this one hasn't even been dealt with yet, while this one has, and this one looks to be on its way to be dealt with. All right. This is your key right here. We're headed north of $4 at some point in the natural gas. Again, these are weekly charts, ladies and gentlemen. So if we do fall off the cliff here, get below the Kumo cloud, scare people to death, getting into the mid $2 range, don't fall in love with this downside, because at some point, notice how our midpoint has been 325. That 325 is going to act as the next support to get you up to 375. And then we start dealing with those pointers north of $4. All right. I'm just saying, this is what the price action is telling us. Crude oil, what is going on with the oil? I know you've been hearing about everything going on in Qatar. Oh boy. Crude oil is one of those markets, though, where nothing matters, but everything does matter. Gaps and pointers really don't matter, but they matter. Crude oil is a gangster, crazy market where you have a trillion different market forces and dynamics all competing against each other at once. And this market can move on no news at all, or it can be extremely sensitive to news. It's the wild, wild west of markets. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Veritasium, whatever you call it, they have nothing on crude oil. Crude oil is the most gangster market on the planet. It is gangster for gangster reasons, and you have gangsters that control and operate in it. And that's real talk. Pointers all over the place. They always get fulfilled. Yes, even though it's a schizophrenic market, you got a pointer here, you got a pointer there. They're both dealt with. We go down, deal with the latter first, and you come up and deal with the former. Then you create more knives and swords and spikes along the way, and we deal with each and every one, consolidate. We give up the ghost, got a pointer right here saying more downside is coming eventually, and then it's looking like it's on its way to fulfill this one now, and it's looking like we're going to 43. It's a wild market. It does whatever it wants to do. It trends, it doesn't trend, it chops more than it trends, but when it trends, it can be phenomenal. And when it chops, it can be even more phenomenal than when it trends. It's just a crazy market. It's a day trader's market. It's a swing trader's market. When it's trending, it's a position trader's market. If you don't know what you're doing, stay away from this market. I chose my my live trading on this particular market just to show you that no matter how crazy and manipulated a market is, it can still be traded profitably. I'm just saying. All right. So where are we going? Looks like we're going south of the border. But remember, you're in the Kumo cloud of death. We get down here south of the border, make everyone think it's going to fall off a cliff, then it head fakes you and goes back up to hither. So I think we're going to drop down to the low 40s first, and then we're going to run up back up to 50. All right. Trajectory is down. Then we come back up to 50 and head fake the mess out of people. And that's just what it does. All right. So that's pretty much all I got for now. It's quiet in the markets. Can't make things up. You have to just talk about what you see. If you don't see nothing, so be it. With that said, come on over to pulsewavetrading.com. Learn how to trade these markets, navigate these muddy algo waters, And don't forget to come on over and peep me with the Guerrilla Economist today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or whenever we decide to do it. It depends. You never know what can happen. But for those of you who are already with us, be sure to remember to register on the website to be kept up to date to what's going on, and also follow me on Twitter so you'll know when I tweet out when we're going to do the next live webinar sessions, etc., etc. And remember, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back to these greedy markets. Peace. And now the market's just trying to decide what it wants to do. We're in this sideways pattern. For all this price action, technically speaking, we've gone absolutely nowhere. We're right where we are today, basically where we were back here, and practically, technically, back here. So there's been little price action since April the 13th of 2017 to today. All right? A lot of up and down, but really no price action. We are at the same price. We are break even, basically. Had you bought this stock on April the 13th, 2017, you're basically at break even right now. There's nothing going on. That should tell you something. But the big question mark now is how is maintaining that 21,000 support, which is good. The NASDAQ 100 is up 11 1/4 at 57.30 1/2. The E-mini S&P 500 futures is up 3 3/4 points at 24.30 1/4. The Nikkei futures is up 80 at 19,930. Crude oil futures up 10 cents at $46.17 1/2. And the US dollar's at 97.06. It's struggling to hold on to that 97 handle. And going down to gold, gold is at $1264.90, down $4 even. Silver broke below $17. It's at $16.80, down about 13 cents. Financial sector. This is ticker XLF. As you can see, something is brewing. This market has broken out and is trying to gain more upside momentum. Trend lines are rising with price. If we look at a longer term view here, we will see more of the same, but broken down into a better picture for you. So on the daily, it looks like you're gathering steam, but you really haven't broken out yet, and you're bumping up against resistance, but it does appear, and I use the word appear, that 25.30 is in play, and that 25.30 is going to be taken out. All right? And you do have, and natural gas is at $3.04. And it's up about a penny. So, as you can see, these markets overall are very quiet. Not a lot going on right now. And I suspect that the sideways pattern will continue for a while. It's just the nature of where we are right now. Markets have not really chosen a direction so far this week. We're early into the week, but still just consolidating. I mean, overall, stock market's had an incredible run. It's still locked in. All right, there's no technical damage on the charts or anything like that. Right now, you're looking at a chart of advanced micro devices. You basically saw how we filled this gap here, all right? All right, here we go. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of the pre-market pulse scan. Today is Tuesday, June the 13th, 2017. Eastern Standard Time, AM 7:05. All right, let's jump right into it. First things first, looking into the overnight markets. For the most part, we're in a holding pattern. Everything is quiet. Not a lot going on, which is to be expected. Your bonds right now have been holding steady around the 153.25, 153.30 level, and that's where we are right now. Looking at the Dow futures are up 18 points at 21,202. So the Dow